Welcome to the Stephen Hasner Show. We're outside today, so if you hear some noises, I apologize, but we wanted to switch up the scenery. Today I'm going to be talking about why I chose to become a lawyer, a little bit about my background, and maybe some things for you to think about if you're interested in going to law school and becoming a lawyer. So I grew up in North Palm Beach, Florida. Yes, many moons ago, based on how I look. I actually grew up surfing, was my #1 sport as a kid, and our whole family did. I had 2 older brothers. A big influence in my life was definitely my father, who was very driven and taught us to really strive for excellence. And really the same with my stepfather too, that had an influence in my life this a similar way. What I loved about my father is that not only was he really driven and taught us to be driven, he was a big encourager. He was very selfless, which is another important facet in being a lawyer and really caring for a team if you have a law firm. But he always knew when we had a quiz or a test, he would call and how you doing? How's the studying going? And then, follow up with a call after. And that led literally through college and law school. So I was grateful to have that kind of encouragement and someone to model striving for being excellent in everything you do. Yeah, so I have 2 older brothers, and I was actually a freshman in college at Florida State. I know I'm jumping ahead, but my middle brother, Mark, is a tax lawyer in Miami, but at that time, he was in law school. And of course, what a brother does, you learn. I'm asking a lot of questions. What's interesting is he's more of a transactional lawyer, and I'm a litigator, obviously, but I just learned a lot about law school, and it was interesting to me. And my brother definitely had a big influence in teaching me about law and then sparking that interest in me to desire to be a lawyer. I always had in me a desire to serve others. So I used to spend time, even as a kid, with the Boys and Girls Club, local things in the community to serve others that had, a greater need than I did. It's kind of been in me for a long time to really serve others in everything we do. So all my lens and how I think about everything every day is how to serve others, how to help others. And that's clients, but also our staff at Hasner Law. It wasn't like I was watching Perry Mason as a middle schooler and had this dream to be a lawyer. So for me, I've always had a love for sports and always been interested in sports. I honestly thought I would be a sports agent, but as I learned more about the law and different areas of the law, litigation was really something that excited me. The process in litigation, whether it's taking depositions, doctor depos, client and defending depositions or of experts, to the actual courtroom, and the amazing feeling of preparing for a trial, but then when that trial starts, it's very exciting. There's not a lot of situations in life that you have that kind of experience. I knew when I started analyzing options and that with law that it was going to be really litigation focused. Where it clicked for me in high school and college. High school, I liked public speaking. I've always been very extroverted. People make fun of me and say I could speak to the wall all day. But debate, those kind of things I was very interested in, which again ties into litigation as a litigation lawyer. I went to Florida State University in Tallahassee, Florida, which was the capital of Florida. Go Noles. I was definitely very driven in school, and but also very driven to have fun. And I learned pretty quickly as a freshman that it's okay to have fun, but it's very important to focus on your schoolwork and have the discipline to say no to a night out and actually study. I was always someone who liked to go to class. I was kind of the nerd in the front row because to me, I retain information that way, and then it makes it easier when I go to study for a test. I was very active in school, in a fraternity, always looked for leadership roles in school, and I think that's helpful in helping you get into law schools because it demonstrates your leadership and different things that you care about. I don't remember everything substantively from law school because I practice in a very focused area and a specialized area in personal injury and workers' compensation law, but definitely changes how you think and then your ability to retain information, analyze information. I always say that I was never smarter than the day I took the bar exam for how intense you have to study for one test. I remember the words literally coming off the page and the reading comprehension at such a high level. So those things I learned a lot in law school. So one of my brothers works in the insurance industry, and he actually connected me while I was in law school to an insurance company and claims department, and that got my foot in the door in a law firm in Florida to actually start doing defense work, defending the kind of claims that we now prosecute. But I knew pretty early on that I wasn't going to be someone that was going to thrive or desire to be in some huge large firm, and that I would have more of an imprint on my staff and clients leading a team. So I was only a defense lawyer for a couple years, and joined another firm and became a partner there. It was a smaller firm. But honestly, over time, representing institutional clients or insurance companies, I didn't feel like I was making an impact on others. I knew pretty quickly that I wanted to represent individuals and their families. I actually experienced some lawyers not really looking, appearing to have a good relationship with their clients or knew their clients, would go to a mediation. And I'm like, has this lawyer actually met their client? And to me, it's so important for me and for our firm and our lawyers and team to really build relationships with our clients. This is a very difficult time for our clients. So I knew early on I would have more of an imprint, influence as a leader of an organization versus being part of some large organization, which maybe have some input, but may not get the response that I get being a leader at Hasner Law. And in this time of shifting or thinking about shifting, God showed up in my life and had a big impact and change in my life. And when I started understanding who He is and where I fit into His plan, I knew for sure that representing individuals and their families was going to be where I was going to lead the law firm. So actually started doing defense work and then shifted to representing individuals and their families or plaintiffs. And that changed everything, because even though I was kind of a good kid growing up and I've served in different ways and always loved others, it was a dramatic change. But really caring about people where they are and making recommendations and decisions in their case, but also life. I always talk about, you have a case, but you also have a life. So we have to talk about both of those things, because that may be what leads to the best decision for you and your family moving forward, whether it's to settle or not, whether it's to fight or litigate over certain issues, so having God just changes everything of how I, lead people, love people, handle cases, and really fight for people. Things to think about whether law is right for you. In particular, law school is challenging and it's a lot of work, and the same with being a lawyer. It's not an easy role to coast in by any means. So I think being hardworking, caring about what you're doing, I think, I know everyone says they care, but do you really care that you're going to give the extra effort to help a client? And obviously I'm speaking more towards representing the injured. I think people always say, oh, I argue, I should be a lawyer. It's not all about arguing, but obviously if you have debate skills and if litigation, you like public speaking and you're comfortable in that, facet, you may, lead into litigation. Of course, there's other areas of law that you don't need to leave your desk and do transactional work and contract work, and that could still be a fit based on your personality when you choose to go the law route. And I recommend, if you're in college and contemplating law, they have mock trial teams, actually in high school and also in college. Give a plug to Will Warhay in my office, who leads Georgia Tech's mock trial team and teaches at Georgia Tech. Those may, again, show more interest in litigation. Another great idea is actually go work for a law firm. You could be a runner, a file clerk, and start asking questions and talking to people, whether you're working at a firm or you know someone. Maybe your parents have a friend who's a lawyer. Go have lunch with them, ask them what it's like to be a lawyer. Again, different areas of law can be different, though, different experiences, so realize that, whether it's transactional or more litigation, but always great to know what's life like. It can be difficult being a lawyer. There's high burnout, unfortunately, in what we do, but to me, to advocate for people and fight for people is life-changing. They're trusting us, they're trusting me to help them with their case. You know, they don't know the law, they don't know their rights. Some of them don't even speak our language, and they're putting their faith in me to do what's right on behalf of them. And to me, that's exciting, to take someone through a difficult process and make their life better. And on the back end to say, thank God I hired Hasner Law, or you know, that they really cared about me, explained the law. I knew my rights, I knew the plan on the case, and they kept fighting, kept fighting, kept fighting. And there's a huge blessing in that, to really help others. So obviously, you know, if you care about others and love others in this area, then, you know, you're more likely it's going to be a good fit for you. So in law school, I remember there were some people that were later in their careers, and they started one route and they realized they didn't have a passion in that. Because that's another thing, whatever you choose to do in life, you want to be passionate about it, you want to enjoy it, you know. You know, I know several people that changed. They obviously had to take the LSAT, you know, get into law school, and they're having thriving careers. So it's never too late to become a lawyer, if you're driven in that way. And to help you with maybe your decision about going to law school or being a lawyer, feel free to contact me. Go to hasnerlaw.com, call the number, and I'm happy to connect with you, to meet with you. You know, come to the office. I can explain things about what it's like to practice law and to lead a law firm. Thanks for joining the Stephen Hasner Show. Hopefully this was helpful to you, encouraging to you if you may have an interest in law. Remember to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.